I'm not wondering why my olive tree is thriving. It makes perfect sense of why it's thriving. I kind of understand the nature of how things thrive because they have natural roots to them, and there's a detachment from needing something from it. We're back, party people, and today we are getting into some poetry. I said it, the P word. Rarely touch on poetry in these episodes, but it's a big part of the 3-year course that I always say anybody can jump into from the convenience of their phones. Just download the Vedantic World app. But the 3-year course, the ashram, and where the 3-year course started, where the physical course still is in India, has a massive portion. In fact, it starts with select English poems. Swami, the founder of the ashram, he was a Shakespearean scholar before he got into philosophy and spirituality, actually. There's a story that he tells that his father asked his high school teacher how he did, and he said because he just poured himself into really understanding each word, each symbol within a section of a Shakespearean script or play, and the teacher said, "You should ask your son how I did." That, by the way, is a nice side note on how deep Swami goes into dissecting. If he does that for Shakespeare, imagine what he does for the Vedas or an Upanishad or the Gita, or things that we cover in any and all of these episodes. And for today's episode, I actually want to read one of my favorite poems that we go over in the 3-year course. That is called The Olive Tree by Sabine Baring-Gould. So I'll read it for you, and then it's a very short poem. I think it's 36 verses. Very short poem, but man, I think about this poem all the time as a creator, as a parent, as a friend. The theme you can think about is the Vedantic principle of attach, you lose, detach, you gain. Attach, you lose, detach, you gain. But primarily, I'll leave it to you to reflect on the deeper meaning behind these words. The olive tree. Said an ancient hermit bending, half in prayer upon his knee, oil I need for midnight watching, I desire an olive tree. Then he took a tender sapling, planted it before his cave, spread his trembling hands above it, as his benison he gave. But he thought the rain it needeth, that the root may drink and swell. God, I pray thee, send thy showers. So a gentle shower fell. Lord, I ask for beams of summer, cherishing this little child. Then the dripping clouds divided, and the sun looked down and smiled. Send it frost to brace its tissues. Oh my God, the hermit cried. Then the plant was bright and hoary, but at evensong it died. Went the hermit to a brother sitting in his rocky cell. Thou an olive tree possessed, how is this, my brother, tell? I have planted one and prayed, now for sunshine, now for rain. God hath granted each petition, yet my olive tree hath slain. Said the other, I entrusted to its God my little tree. He who made knew what it needed better than a man like me. Laid I on him no conditions, fixed no ways and means. So I wonder not my olive thriveth, whilst thy olive tree did die. I think about this in terms of building companies all the time. Early in my career, my 20s, when basically everything I tried to do was 10 times harder, 10 times more stressful, more volatile, and produced 1/10 the results, I would go to bed thinking, okay, tomorrow I need to make sure the team does this. I need to jump into this work stream, make sure that we get this done. I need to oversee that one hire and make sure that they're doing it the right way. I don't necessarily trust the way that they're going to do it. Out of a fatal concoction of insecurity and overconfidence, I just thought, I need to be involved. And what happens, especially on the personnel front, and anybody that's had a bad boss knows what this is like, you get inspired about a project at work, and then you take it nearly to the finish line and a superior says, no, we're going to change this, change this, change this, change this. And you're like, no, that doesn't fit the assignment. That doesn't fit what customers really want. I don't understand why we're doing it that way. On top of being jaded by all of the work you put into it, now being basically rendered useless. It's a solution to the problem that you don't really believe in, and you're like, man, okay, I'm not going to put all of myself into the next project that I get, because my boss is just going to change it. The CEO is just going to completely destroy what I think, as the domain expert on the team, thinks should be the solution. And you go into the next project with half as much energy. Happens again, you go into the next one with 25% the energy that you had in the beginning. And I remember my general counsel telling me, when you let a team member do it, what you'll get is, if it's the right team member, if you've hired well, you'll get 100% of them. 90% of maybe the solution you would design, but 2% of the work from you, to where it doesn't overwhelm you, to where you can actually have the energy to jump on any emergencies that come up, instead of overwhelmed to where I remember just waking up, looking at my phone and seeing like, oh my God, I can't believe there's this, and this to now solve. And I was barely treading water. Now, whenever those things come across my inbox, I certainly do not wake up looking at my phone first. Start with this philosophy. But whenever those things come across my inbox, I'm like, oh yeah, great. Got the energy. Let's dive in. I haven't been running 7 different races, and now there's a new 800-meter dash I now have to run. It's like I've been overseeing 2% of the time on this, and this work stream. And okay, here's the 800-meter dash. There also isn't this hovering over the project, needing it to be something. What is forced is never forceful, comes to mind. There's no just white-knuckled gripping. This needs to be something. I need this. I got to force this into something. It's more like, hey, if this is meant to be, I want this to have its own roots, its own kind of natural formula of it existing without it constantly needing me to pray for this 1 hour, this the next hour, this other thing, the third hour. I want it to have a natural fruition. With Magic Mind, for example, it was 2 years before I committed to, okay, this thing is, people really want this thing. My first company, I remember, had the idea. The next day I went and bought a big computer monitor. I was like, I'm doing this, and I'm going to get a big computer monitor to like get started on it. But fast forward 10 years with Magic Mind, it wasn't like I'm doing this. It was like, hey, I'm going to take some time, if even before those 2 years of building out a little bit of a brand, seeing if firing bullets before cannonballs, as they say, seeing if there's a real need for this. Even before that, it was like, hey, if this idea comes back to me 5 times and people really want this, then I will dip my toe into it. And then from there, it was fire bullets, not cannonballs. The most minimum version. I always say, if people will buy it when it's ugly, they'll buy a shit ton of it when it's pretty. So start small, start raw and a minimal version. And if people want that, then okay, invest a little bit more. But it was 2 years before I was like, all right, guns a-blazing, let's go. This is a wave to ride. This is a natural combination of the surfer and the wave versus the entrepreneur, the surfer, the individual. I was about to say so many of the powerful things. I think all of the powerful things in my life, companies, relationship with my wife, relationship with friends, with our daughters, relationship with this philosophy. There's been so little, if maybe any, I don't know if there's been any forcing. Maybe early on, And then, like with my wife, the first 2 weeks were pretty great. I felt really hard, and I think I went a little too hard forcing the relationship. And that's when we probably had some of the most distance. When she's like, this guy's coming on a little too strong. So when there has been forcing, it's sensitivity of, this is probably going to backfire. Let me just see if this can grow natural roots. And you get to a place where you become that second monk, that second hermit that is saying, I'm not wondering why my olive tree is thriving. Makes perfect sense of why it's thriving. I kind of understand the nature of how things thrive because they have natural roots to them. And there's a detachment from needing something from it and hovering over it. And you also no longer wonder when you see someone else's project or relationship or any type of pursuit, when you see it flounder, wither away. You get to a place where you're not wondering at all. You look at it and say, wow, that's actually, you could have seen that 20 miles out. So much forcing, so much agitation, so much attachment. The olive tree. I used to not have too much of an appreciation to poetry, a little bit here and there, but the visuals that short, simple, sweet poem can give us, like two olive trees, and which one, not only which one do you want, but which is the simpler, smoother of the two roles, the one that's hovering over and the other that's just watching, observing. It's a beautiful visual that once it sinks in, at least for myself, I couldn't unsee it. I began to see it in so many different aspects in my life. And that is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.